Hey, my name's Jeff Scott, and I'm a filmmaker in Central Florida. Some people reached out recently asking about my color grading process, so I thought I'd talk about it a little bit. I edit, color grade, and sound mix entirely on Davinci Resolve Studio. Though one of the tools I've been wanting to try out recently is called Dehancer. It's a film emulation plugin that you can use in your color grading and finishing process. And they actually reached out to me recently asking if I'd give their product a try and talk about the results I saw from it, whether it's negative or positive. They are sponsoring this video, but they made it very clear that they want my truthful impressions on their product, and so that's what we're gonna do. I thought that I would recolor grade my recent short film, Birb. So let's get to it. All right, we got our project pulled up here, so let's get going. Turn off the old color grade here. Leave that over there. Let's add a new node, and then we'll drop Dehancer in here. So come over to search your library, type Dehancer, drag that into the node. Now, by default, you have to tell it what color space you're in. So up here on source, I'm in Davinci wide gamut, so we're gonna start with that. Then you wanna go, well, I like disabling everything because everything is enabled by default, and I do not like that. So that should be it. Okay, so we're going to enable the film, and then we're gonna pick our film stock that we want to use. Now, Dehancer, when I first started looking into it, I thought that it was just like a fancy LUT with sliders and stuff attached to it. That's not it at all. They're actually completely emulating the film development process from beginning to end. So you're choosing your film stock that you're actually capturing on, and then you're choosing your print stock for actually printing a master out, and then controlling all the aspects in between there as if you were in an actual film lab. So I like Kodak Vision 3 200T right here. So we're gonna start with that. And then you can push and pull it right here just as if you were in the film lab. So if you were, and each of these stocks are gonna act differently depending on which one you choose, because they all act differently with colors and the way it deals with highlights and shadows. And so you can see if we push it, we're gonna get much more of a sort of greener cyan type push, and then it gets a little bit warmer on the pull side. So I'm gonna start from the center and then maybe just pull it just a little bit. That looks good right there. How to choose your film stock. If you're going to use a vignette, you're going to want to do that next, because the vignette is going to affect the actual exposure. So we're going to turn on mask mode first, so we can set the size of the vignette we want. I'm going to do, that looks good. So let's turn the mask back off, and then we're going to set the exposure for it. That looks good right there. Next thing you're gonna wanna do is the expand section right here is you're actually selecting your black and white points. So let's enable that. I'm gonna start with the black point. Kind of watching the waveform down here, seeing how it's affecting the shadows. You don't want it to be, crazy crushed like that, but you generally wanna pull it down a little bit. That looks good. You bring it up just a little. And then your white point. So don't want to raise it too much. Let's see how that affects the other one too. It's looking okay. Let's see if it's before, after. Maybe bring that white point up just a little more, and then drop that black a little. After that, I come up here to the film compression. So this is going to affect the way the highlights are dealt with. When you're shooting on film, your highlights have this really nice soft roll off in the emulsion. And digital tends to give you these just really sharp clippings, so this helps a lot. So just by enabling it, you can already see the difference that it makes in these highlights. Off, on, off, on. So I'm gonna leave it like that and maybe pull the impact down just a little bit. Let's take a look at the white point. Maybe pull it up right there. That looks pretty good. After that, we're gonna pick our print. pull back out here. So this is gonna be actually like print master, like the 35mm you would be printing to. So let's enable it. By default, it's linear, not really doing anything. These are the two main ones I use. This is like one of the more popular Fujifilm print, and then this is one of the more popular Kodaks. I use Fujifilm a lot. It gives it this like kind of nice, kind of cools everything out a little. The Kodak's a little bit warmer, which I think is gonna look a lot better for this. So I'm gonna go with that. And I might wanna adjust the tonal contrast just a little. Let me bring it down some. That looks good. Let's compare it to that. Yeah, it's looking good. And with the saturation, I don't really like how Dehancer does it. It's probably me just not used to the way it's working. So maybe that'll change in the future, but I'll show you how I deal with the saturation myself in a little bit. Yeah, color head here, I'm not gonna do much with this. This is basically like the printer lights. In a film development lab, this is sort of where you would get your color grade from there, adjusting the actual chemistry of the printing. I might do, let's cool down the shadows just a little bit. Yeah, bring it back some, and maybe warm up the highlights just a tad. Less, and I'm gonna bring down the overall impact of that so that it's not too much. So that's good. After that, we got the film grain. By default, it's 35mm. That's a little too much for me. So I'm gonna go to 65mm, 250. Let's look at 50. Well, actually, here, let's scroll in here so we can really see the grain. So we got 250, 50. Let's go with the 50. And once you select it, you can go to custom. And then you get a lot more sliders here that you can adjust. So I'm gonna bring the size up just a little bit and bring up the amount just a little. With my film grain, I do the same thing in Davinci. I like to completely desaturate it. With the grain adds coloring within the grain. They call it chroma in Dehancer. So I'm gonna bring this down all the way and then just bring up the saturation just a little bit. Also your film resolution, if you choose anything less, like if you choose 35mm, it drops the resolution down to like 70. Even if I'm using 35mm, I'll bring that film resolution back up to at least 90, just because I want that resolution there for it. Next we got halation. When you're shooting on film stock, the highlights, when it hits the emulation, will cause this like red glow. So here, I'll just turn this on, and you get a little bit of red there. But if we pull up the custom right here and get all of our sliders, local diffusion affects where the actual highlights are. So if we pull that up, you'll see that, like, there we go, that red glow. Pull it up just a smidgen. And the global diffusion is going to be everywhere else, which is going to add this reddish hue. So I don't even want to touch that, but we'll leave the bumped up local diffusion there. Bloom. Look at this highlight again. I usually just use the default. It blooms it out and gives this nice little pop in the highlights. I'm already using a black Promise filter for diffusion on these shops when I capture them, so I don't need too much more. That's pretty much it. The film damage here is really cool. I'm not going to use it, but the Dehancer film damage, in my opinion, works a lot better than the Davinci one. So if I were going to use it, I would definitely use the Dehancer one. So for the saturation, I'm going to want to add a little bit more to this. Usually what I'll do is I'll add another node once I'm done. Whoops. Before it, add node before. And my favorite way to deal with saturation in Davinci is under the log wheel. onto the primaries. So let's bump that to a place that I like. That looks good. Let's see how it affects the other shot. Nah, it's a little much. Bring it back down. That looks good. All right, so let's export that and take a look. So I think overall those are really good results. It's a lot quicker than my normal process, and I feel like the end result was a lot closer to what it is that I was going for. If you want to give Dehancer a try, click the link on the description. I've got a code, BURAROOM, which will give you 10% off, and they'll kick your boy back a little bit of money too. Now, when I'm editing, I go back and forth a lot between the iPad and the Mac using Davinci Cloud. If you're interested in seeing Dehancer used in an iPad workflow, let me know in the comments and I'll put something together for you. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. I'll see you next time.
How was Birb today?
Delightful.